So, Laphroaig 12-year-old. Now, it's not something that you see very often, is it? The Laphroaig that you're going to be used to is this one. It's the Laphroaig 10-year-old, bottled at 40%. In some regions, I believe 43%. So that's the norm. So what's going on with this? So it's an exclusive traveler's version. 12-year-old, and it's bottled at 46%. So for the Peat monsters or the Laphroaig fans, the Islay fans, this is like, wow, this is a dream come true, isn't it? So, oh, woo! Okay, so let's get into this. Got a nice presentation box. You'll pick this up, you know, at the airports and the duty-free shops. All around all the different airports. It's quite popular now, I believe, but you're not going to get it in the shops. So if you've got a mate or yourself, if you're going overseas, this could well be something to look out for. It could well be the purchase of the season, all right, and the traveling. Now, it's 2 years old, of course, than the standard version. It's bottled at a higher strength, another 6%. It is matured entirely in ex-bourbon barrels. It's got natural colour and it's non-chill filtered. It looks pretty light, which you would expect 12 years in a bourbon barrel. You know, that's a nice smell. You know, I would have expected this to be more of a sort of peaty smoke monster, if you know what I mean. And so far, nothing too bad. So the distillery, as you know, Laphroaig. It's Islay, Scotland. It's a single malt whiskey, 12 years old, 46%, and it's American ex-oak barrels. Heavily peated, they say. Yeah, non-chill filtered, and the bottle size is 700 mils. It's a distillery bottling and first introduced in 2025, so it is relatively new on the market, but look out for it, as I say, at duty-free lounges at the airports. It carries the words exclusive to travellers, so yeah, that's why you're not going to get it in the shops. Yeah, it sounds more adventurous, you know. I don't know why. Is the duty-free, is the airport shops, is it a testing market before they would maybe roll it out global? I don't know. Maybe have to ask Laphroaig about that. Anyway, Laphroaig itself was officially established back in 1815 by Donald and Alexander Johnston, namesakes of my Ham Johnston. So. And the distillery itself, it sits on the southern coast of Islay, not far from the Lagavulin and the Ardbeg distilleries, making that sort of whole particular coastal stretch, you know, responsible for some of the most smoky whiskies in the world. As I said, it's heavily peated. It's a heavily peated malt, and yeah, it uses its own traditional floor maltings for a portion of its barley. So the peat used by Laphroaig itself contains, it's plenty of seaweed and plenty of moss, like coastal vegetation, you know, which is sort of come down and ground into the ground, and got that maritime smoky personality into the whiskey. So depending on your point of view, Laphroaig, you know, can smell like seaweed, iodine, a beach bonfire, or an old-fashioned medical cabinet. Now, I don't know, the peat is there, and you can get it. I don't think it's monstrous, but it doesn't feel as aggressive, maybe even as the standard 10-year-old. You certainly got that smouldering wood, ash, burnt herbs, followed by that familiar sort of medicinal character, the antiseptic iodine. Oh yeah, you know, it's not my favorite smell in the world. It's no secret I'm not a massive Islay fan, but I certainly will be open-minded enough to review all of these whiskies, and this has been recommended as a particularly good one, so we'll not discount it, shall we? Okay, let's give it a little bit of a try. Oh, wow! There's an immediate wave of that peat smoke. More smoke and peat, and then followed by peat and smoke, and then some sweetness. I always find it interesting to see what comes first. Is the sweetness first or the peat and smoke? With this, it's the peat and smoke, and it really does actually. It really does slap you around the face. This one. Oh yes, it's thick, earthy. It's got that burnt wood and that ash, perhaps some charcoal in there. Is it as aggressive as the 10-year-old? I don't think it is. Maybe that extra little bit of time has mellowed out some of those rougher edges, and that extra ABV maybe covers up a little bit of dark side sins. I don't know. So you're getting sort of that sweetness, the peaches coming in there, a little bit of lemon. Licorice, maybe. I don't particularly get licorice. I'm just I know that they have that on the marketing side of things, and no, I don't get any licorice myself, or aniseed. I don't get any aniseed. I do get the herbal notes. There's also a little bit of spice, maybe a little tiny amount of pepper spice, you know. I would say this is one for the whiskey enthusiasts, especially those who are really into the Islay whiskies, the peaty whiskies. They're going to absolutely love this because it's got that extra 6% punch, and it's you know, a classic Islay Laphroaig. So they're really going to be into that. I'd say on the finish, it's quite long and lasting, and I think that's simply because of the nature of the peat and the smoke. It's going to be there, isn't it? You know, it lasts, it's oily, briny, and it stays. Again, you've got that salty dryness, which is not very forward in this one, but it is there, so you know that there's a drying. And I always find with drying whiskies that it does draw you back in. Sometimes it's probably good to have, if you've got a dram, sit and have a glass of water beside, so you know, you can wash out the palate. But it has got a great mouthfeel. It's considerably better than I thought it would be, and I think it's better than the 40%. I have tried the 40%. Yeah, it's actually very, very well balanced, well controlled, and well done by Laphroaig. I don't think it's going to be long before this will be added to the core range. I would think, at least I would think. I don't know the reason why. Maybe they've put it as a traveller exclusive. It could be volume. Maybe that's all they've got to put out there this time. It's got plenty of power as well. You know, 46% sometimes disappears, but this does seem to carry well. So long, smoky, drying finish, definitely. Scoring from me. Okay, so I'm not a hell of a big Islay fan, I've got to admit it, but this is a good whiskey. I'm not going to give it one, which is not for me. I'm not going to give it the awesome whiskey, the 5 barrels, or either, or 4. I've got to be honest with my own feelings about Islay. I wouldn't drink this personally. Simply, just purely, it's not my style. Anyone who's into Islay is going to love this whiskey, absolutely love this whiskey. So look, I'm going to give it 2 barrels, which is putting it in the, let's call it the interesting. I think it's interesting. I think there is a lot going on. I think it's interesting. It hasn't pushed me over to the dark side yet. So 2 barrels for me. Look, let me know if you can get your hands on this. Let me know if you get some. Let me know what you think if you do manage to try it, because it is an interesting one. And let me know how you think it stacks up against the 10-year-old normal Laphroaig. Remember, if you do like the video, if you think it adds a little bit of value to the tasting, you know, hit that subscribe. It really does matter. And we'll look out to the next tasting. Until then, drink responsibly, folks, and sláinte.